Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Race Course, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga. Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, coming to you live from the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course alongside Seth, Merrow. I'm Anthony Mormino on a picture-perfect morning. I got in the car, Seth, temperature read in the 60s. I knew that would be a very good thing, and it is beautiful trackside. We have some schooling going on out our front windshield, but you have some free time, this might be a great day to come up to the races. Looks like it's going to be fantastic weather.
Yeah, it seems to have progressively gotten better as we've kind of gone along here. We've had some nice sunny days, quite a few of them, but there was a lot of humidity early on.
Yes.
That's kind of cut out. Today is the temperature and humidity-wise, today is the best we've had so far. So, yeah, it's a great day to come on up if you're thinking about it. Love to have you up here and join us on track, because that's always fun. If not, you can stop by the Clubhouse Racebook. So keep all your options in mind, because it looks like a great day of racing.
Guessing
ahead.
It didn't rain. Like, it hasn't rained. It was supposed to be 2 days.
Oh, well, yeah, Wednesday and beginning of the week, they were
Right.
saying Wednesday and Thursday. It was almost like a slam dunk that it was going.
And we got nothing in Saratoga County right now because you're a resident of the
No, it was
county
a
at
gorgeous
night.
day yesterday.
I have a quick question on any scuttlebutt about the first floor clubhouse. I'm on record as I love it. But I know people can be very protective of change, especially up here. But I think it's sensational. And I've been going there since, living there since 1985. And I'm like, I think it's great.
I have not, I haven't heard any.
I will say, on a personal note, the quick, easy access to the men's room, is gone. But I think it's beautiful. Like, my thought always is, if this was the first time you came in, you'd be like, this is great.
Yeah, no, it's nice. Again,
I love it.
I wish they would put up some kind of taupe board, because they did it again yesterday. Race, and I'm watching on that screen down there. Race ended. It's like after 40 years of whatever, I can't break the habit. I looked up to see what the odds were on the horse I was looking at. And again, I wish all racetracks immediately after. Then I wouldn't bother. Would put up the odds right after they come under the wire.
Yeah. It seemed to be an easy fix, as I think most things are that we don't get fixed.
I can't figure out why and it's not here, just here. It's most racetracks. It'll be, I don't know, 30
Well, the
seconds.
thing I would do is you find out the racetracks that are doing it the right way, and you go, so what are you doing?
I don't know if anybody does it the right way. I think they all kind of way. And then, like I said before, a lot of tracks, the first thing they put up is the pools. But I don't even care about that after, 20 minutes later, I don't even care about that much. So, yeah, there's my suggestion for the day.
I've always thought, for me, I like the exacta box page. I don't want the rotation. Just put up the grid constantly. That's there's it's the best thing in the world. It's like you don't have to wait for the number to come up. You're just the grid. It's like, there you go. Okay, the old 2-7, there you go. I don't have to wait. Oh, this is a 3. Now I got to wait for the rotation. Same with the daily doubles, etc. Those things, I can remember, at the old teletheater, basically I had a front row seat. And on a lot of days, I'd have 2 monitors that were in my domain. So one would be the live Naira thing. The other is because I'm a I'm a vertical player, so the box for the exacta things was great because if you were a charter, you could go right at it. But that one's always amazed me. You know what they had down at Pimlico, and this was over 30 years ago? There was just this section that they replayed the races constantly all day.
Oh.
And the box said race 1, race 2, and they just ran it all day, ran the head on, and no interruption, just on a permanent loop.
Well,
that was
as we as old farts have been reminiscing the entire meet of the old racing form and whatnot, that brings up the. Remember when you had to go up and ask for the replay?
Now
that's going to be totally foreign to people.
Now,
but if you wanted to see,
do you remember when that was?
Because
you say you're not good with these years things.
I would say it's a fairly long time ago.
That's not a number. I sound like a politician.
25 maybe.
Not even close.
Really?
Add 10 years.
35. Well,
1988. Because what you're referring to was the old octagon box, and there was a person there. You filled out a slip, you handed it to the person, and they told you which number to go to.
Well, you think about how times have changed. That one has really changed. Yeah, you had to go and deal with a person. They would put a tape in. You go to the monitor. Now you
1988.
pull it up on your phone. Any race you want in the world.
Yeah, in high def. Pretty good pictures. So much has changed. We still can't time races as well as I think we should, but a lot of things have changed. But yes, that was 1988. That they, because I'm a guy who's still living with, much to my wife's chagrin, a boatload of VHS tapes, baby. When they have that sale for the last VHR, there's going to be tons of us old fogies going, I need it.
I have a pile of VHS tapes myself.
Now, how many VHS players do you have?
I have probably 3, but I'm not sure if they all work.
They all work for me.
I mean, I know one of them does, definitely, because I've used it.
Sometimes I'll put in sometimes they'll question my memory, like why you have it. But I'll be like, I'll throw in 1986 races while I'm doing stuff. I'll hear, what was it? Phil Saltzman at Calder. And then if a race more peaked up, I go, oh my goodness, Collins against Personal Ensign in the Frizette.
I will throw in, speaking of floor, I'll throw in another, remember the old Grand Union?
Absolutely.
Did they call it at the race? I forget now what they called it.
I think they did. Grand Union at the races. And
got the little card, and that was, they would run them on the tartan. Yeah.
You knew if you were holding 3 number 7s, that number 7 wasn't winning.
Yeah, if you visited the supermarket 3 times, you had.
And I will say this: in the 70s, our family were Grand Union people.
Well, I remember getting the card and playing along.
It was like Saturday night at 7:00 or something.
That sounds right. Yeah, and if folks don't remember, you'd go to the supermarket, they'd give you a card, and it had a race and a number on it, and then Saturday night you'd tune in, and they would play some kind of ancient replays, but they were from,
and I got to tell you something.
Was it tartan? Was that Calder or was that Tropical Park?
Well, I think it was Calder because that was 3M, right? And the McKnights, they had developed
You're exactly right.
And I've read about, I guess it was bad for the horses, et cetera. But I thought it looked cool on television, because by then, now here you go. Well, this one you're going to get right because do you remember kind of when that was?
Oh, I don't know if I do, but I would say I'd go early 70s.
Yeah. I was gonna guess 1978, but that's close. That's pretty close. It was I loved it. I mean, by then I was a horse racing guy, so I was not quite on the cusp. I didn't start buying the form every day outside of Saratoga till about 1980. I've told this story before. I used to get an allowance on Saturday, and the form was about $1.25 then. I got $2. So I went and I got the form, and daily racing form, right? But not for Mormino. It was the weekly daily racing form. And by the end of the week, that broadsheet you could almost peel it apart because I'd look at one track each day. Remember, there'd always be like 4, sometimes 5. and then next Saturday would come. But about 1980, I started buying it.
And they used
every
to, obviously, there'd be some day where there would be like an extra page, and they had the map of the country with all the tracks on it.
That would be a sad map today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It would be much different. There's no question. Man, we sound old.
Well, we are old. That's what I've told people. Like, one of the things when I talk about change now, and I'll say this to my wife, I said, you know, it's 40 years. Like, if you're talking about, I've been an adult for 40 years. There's supposed to be seismic change. I mean, it's like the only thing about this place that's a little different is like everything was basically the same-ish for a very long time. You know, Steve Chris used to write the article. I think the number was 216. There were 216 races. That was it for probably 20 years. That's pretty much almost set in stone.
Yeah.
Now it's like we have 9 races one day, 10 races the other. But we ran 9 races a day.
What was the quote? You leave New York City, take a right, you go 200 miles, you go back.
Was it
100 years
Red
in
Smith
time
wrote
or
that
whatever.
or something?
Yeah.
County Fair, etc.
And I speaking of the Grand Union thing, it's been within the last couple of years, so I'm sure. But I checked YouTube once, and there's 1 or 2 of them. If you go to YouTube, you can.
I gotta look that up. I remember the host. Yeah, but you were sitting with, and I think each week did the coupon change colors.
You might be right
about that. So like I said, you're sitting there with 3 7s for $1,000. The 7's not winning. You know, it'd be a great way to book the other way. But those were fantastic. They were fantastic days. Today's a fantastic day.
I'll just go back to yesterday for a second because Unlimited Potential, that Fletcher entry was kind of interesting. They were both taking very notable drops. Rapoli among the ownership group there, and it had the look of, we'll open up the stall for one of our more promising youngsters, maybe. An Unlimited Potential just ran away with it when dropped way down the claiming ladder. And I saw our friends at America's Pastime Racing pick the horse up. So that may be a clever claim.
Claims there were.
Oh, well. Yeah,
I thought there'd be about 75.
Yeah, I mean,
it was reported as 5, right?
I think that's right.
5. I was like, no way.
But
because you almost can't lose at 16.
That's just it. I mean,
everybody's in.
You got to be thrilled with the victory because I think you have at least a 16 level claimer. You're good there. And then Dolomite. I said if I was singling a horse yesterday, Dolomite would have been my single, and that one got it done. I mean, at 320. But again, to me, that was a single on the card. So interesting day.
I'll say one thing. And this might sound odd to our newbies or weekend warriors that pick it up at Saratoga. That I thought the Wednesday, Thursday cards were outstanding. Like I said it, ahead of time. It's not redboard. I mean, outstanding, and
held up with the weather.
It held up with the weather. Mother Nature helped us out. Thank you. And I was, I think minus like $5 and minus like $3. Like on Tuesday. I mean, it played out just about the way it was, and I fought to a tie, which for me is good. I was saying the other day, you changed it, what you were describing it, but treading water is good at the racetrack. Now, I tell people, I said, that doesn't guarantee you're going to win. That might be the high level mark that you're treading water. That's why you really got to strike when the iron's hot in this game, for at least the way I pick horses and bet horses. So, the last 2 days were terrific opportunities. Yes, we had some short price horses, but we talked about the Wednesday. We had, I think, 5 fourth choices win, which is, and in like the $13 price. So I think 2 terrific days of horse racing. Today is a terrific day of life.
It was. There was only a couple winning favorites yesterday, but they were
but they were
Unlimited Potential ones, 290 and Dolomite at 370.
Correct.
But then, there was some
almost had a $60 horse in the last race. Lost the photo.
Yeah,
and it's Kerry Bryan, even though it's spelled a little differently. Yeah. I think she tweeted out her first flat win at Saratoga, which
we had her in. Steve and I had her in the other day on Loose on the Lead. She talked about wanting to go in that direction because She said, I'm kind of maybe known more steeplechase, but I like to break out of that because, the opportunities are obviously much more on the flat side. And being a disciple of Jonathan Shepard, she'll do fine.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what she wants to do. I mean, if you can train it, it's my way of thinking. Gosh, if you can train a jumper.
Oh, I don't think she's given up the jump side.
No,
but I think she wants to, have the other side as well.
Maybe she'll have a storm cat in her life.
Coming up at Capital OTB today, $100 knockout challenge down at the Clubhouse Racebook. So keep that in mind. A little extra fun this afternoon at the Clubhouse Racebook. But also, if you're a patron at the Broadway Lanes Easy Bet, we'd love to have you swing by there, have a little extra fun with Fan Appreciation Day. That gives us our chance to say thank you to you. Some PPs available, food, contest. Contest is always a lot of fun. So that's the Broadway Lanes Easy Bet Fan Appreciation Day today. Tomorrow at the Clubhouse Racebook King of the Hill contest. It is a new contest and has become popular. I think you'll have a little fun with that. Tomorrow's also the Bounty Bet. Don't forget, the Bounty Bet is the late pick 5 at Saratoga. That means the final pick 5 if there's an extra in there. And all you have to do to be in for the Bounty Bet, play that late pick 5 with your Capital OTB Bet account. Sunday, it'll be the $150 pick 3 bankroll. And again, we've done okay in the first couple, but we want to knock one out of the park. You get your chance to be on the team by entering at capitalotb.com. Entries will open today, just about noontime, maybe a little bit after that, but check the website. You'll have until Sunday at about noontime to put your name in the hat. 10 folks will get randomly selected on Sunday as we close at noontime, and then I'll play Sunday afternoon.
Good luck on Sunday, because I've done the work, and it's a terrific card, which is tough for you.
All right.
It's a very good card, but it's very competitive, and you got to work your way. Now, I have to say, this is the first jump ball I've ever had. I would say, because it's so vibrant, I would go with Steve Big Tie.
I think it is.
I mean, that is an excellent looking tie.
I could see me buying
but that
this,
you could,
but
I could see you buying that.
I don't think I did.
But that is a sharp tie.
Thank you.
Don't leave it on the set.
Pulled it out, went all blue today.
It's very nice.
Just before we get to handicapping, let me remind you at 10 o'clock, Nick Hahn will join us. Nick's a friend, along with Frank Vespi, doing the Off to the Races radio show down in the Mid-Atlantic. They look at Colonial, they look at Maryland and whatnot. Frank, of course, has the Racing Biz website, and they co-host. Nick is in town for a few days, so we'll have him come over. And also, friends of ours with the HHH Racing Podcast, Howard Kravitz, Matt Miller, who's kind of a regular on the podcast, but Matt also has a book out.
They were here very early this morning.
That's it. They said the
right behind me.
Crew came by. Matt has a book out, A Better Way of Thinking. Matt won the BCBC a few years ago, and the book kind of concentrates on thinking a little bit differently, maybe as you handicap. And then we'll keep our fingers crossed. I ran into Jason Worth yesterday, World Series winner also here at the racetrack with Dornock as a part owner. So I talked to him, and he said he had a couple of commitments this morning, but he was hoping to make it over. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on Jason Worth a little bit later.
And I'll tell you, I went to Laurel this past spring, but there won't be enough time ever with Frank Vespi. The Maryland situation, I so wanted to work out for the fans and for the racing industry, and for there to be a place that's so attractive to go to for Maryland racing, because it has such a great history in our nation. But that's for another time. But for this time, it's time for the DePaula play of the day on this beautiful Friday morning.
It's time to think DePaula and drive for less. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, here with your DePaula play of the day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course. We'll be giving you our plays of the day on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet, and we'll be basing our success on a 50 to win, 30 to place, 20 to show wager for our bankroll team. And after showing a flat bet profit in the prior 2 years in doing this, we're off to a flying start once again. with 2 wins, a placing, and a showing from our 4 selections thus far, and have more than doubled our $400 in wagers for the bankroll team. We're looking at today's 4th race, specifically the number 7 Tri-Town Lady. Right off the bat, we like the versatility shown, as this miss has wins over 4 different courses, including a fast track, a wet track, and the turf. Breaking from the outside should not be that much of an issue either, as she has a win and a 3rd place finish when in fact last to load. As for today's initial stretch out, we don't believe that will be much of an issue either, as the Tomlinson figure for such is similar to that of the ones for her sprints. After the last 2 slow starts, expect this one to be aggressively ridden early on to maintain position. There's a solid DRF formulated statistic in play as well, as over the last 60 months, Ward is on the money when stretching out his dirt stock for the first time off breaks of 20 to 50 days, as he's a sensational 9-7-1-1 with that sort, and has a $5.75 ROI with a 3-for-3 subcategory with those runners right here. So once again, our capital OTB DePaula play of the day from Saratoga will be in race 4, number 7, Chi-Town Lady, and we'll see you at the races.
It's time to think DePaula and drive for less. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Handicappers Report coming to you live in front of Clare Court on an outstanding Friday morning, and hopefully it'll continue this afternoon. The opener, we're going to go the 1 mile on the dirt. Claimer's in for 16.
And it's funny, you mentioned the workers. They've been gate schooling, it's funny because I don't think anybody's broken from the gate. I think they are literally schooling. They've been walking them in and walking them out, just getting them used to the gate. And
that's usually the first step, right?
Yeah.
Where they walk, they don't close the gate, right? They leave it open so they don't get. I think that's the first step of, getting your gate card eventually. That's still got to be a rule, right?
I would
you
think.
You have to get a gate card to run in the afternoon. And a gate card, I guess, indicates.
And so over here, you have all the starters, the experience. They're good at getting them ready. They can give the check mark that they're ready to go. But I also think that there was a whole slew of Pletcher runners. They had that fluorescent yellow. I think that's the Pletcher team over there. So, all right, the opener today at Saratoga. I have it 8, 2, 6, and 5. I put Bourbon Calling on top. Comes off of avoided a claim. You're always a little bit suspicious maybe there, or suspect. Claimed 3 starts back for 20, won that one. Then had a 3rd place finish at 40, so did put a little money in the bank. 3rd last time, too, with avoided claim at the 25 level. Now goes down to 16. But, again, there's a little money in the bank already. Linda Rice is okay with moves like this. So, again, there's a little bit of maybe consternation, but I'll go with Bourbon Calling on top. Mason Mania in the 2nd spot, also taking a drop that's maybe a little bit concerning. This one a little more notable in the top pick. They claimed this horse for 45, came back at that same level and didn't run well. That was back in May, so now a little bit of time off and comes back for a much reduced rate. But there's talent here, and again, if the reduced rate gets us back to that, I think Mason Mania can be a player. And Valentin Day in the 3rd spot. This one comes in with better recent form than the other 2. And just on that, I could see folks wanting to tilt in that direction. 2 nice wins. They were both at 12.5. So this one moves up a little bit, but, half a step, not notable. So, again, it's an interesting kind of class puzzle, but I have it 8, 2, 6, and 5.
I agree completely. I know you have my top pick is your 4th pick, right? So we're kind of in the same ballpark. And my one thought was that Ray Handel's having a good meet. It's just this $16,000 level, I think, is water seeking its own level. And I think we're going to be highly competitive with Dylan Davis. You see, what do we have? My picks are, 3-1, 3-1, 2-1. I did think Valentine's Day would be the one getting stronger bet. You talk about the buyers, a very impressive 9 furlong, 2-turn race. I think the 6 is going to be heck to pay in this race, but I have Bourbon calling for Linda Rice, who's obviously, just been incredibly good and is on the outside here. I think it's going to have a chance to really, when they break out, is going to be able to drop over and save as much as the 8 is for me, a non-preferred post position draw. I think the flow of the race is going to be very preferred for Bourbon calling. So 5-8-6 in the opener.
Race number 2 on Friday afternoon. We're scheduled on the grass, 5.5 furlongs, and I would say we were pretty safe to stay on the grass. State bred maiden 40s.
Maximum field size of 10 here in the main body, and I am 10-4-3. Rob Actress sends out the 10. Majalulu, second career start, back at the same level, debuted for a tag, stayed in and off the turfer. Raced well enough at 5-2. We're on the outside with Manny Franco, who's having a great meet. For a second, Play Freebird for those of us of our ilk. Right? It's got to be, Leonard Skinner, middle 70s.
Yeah.
This is an easy one.
That was a meme before memes were a thing.
Yes.
Play Freebird.
Yes. Good call there. First time in for a tag in the 7th career start. Hasn't hit the board since, but today, big change of pace. And for third, number 3, Rialta going out for Bruce Levine. So 10-4-3.
1, 7, 6, and 4 for me. Man, we have it covered here again. Generous Lova on top.
We have 6 of the 10 covered.
Really? Blinkers on, Lasix on, off a couple of starts against maiden specialists that I thought they were okay. They weren't much, but comparatively speaking, I think they fit. And now comes back a little bit of a reduced rate and some equipment changes. Irod Ortiz on board. Not thrilled with the 1 post position, certainly, but I'll take that one on top. Inflammable. Flammable. By Flame Away always attracted to me as a win early type of sire. This one hasn't quite lived up to that, but did seem to improve a little bit when moved to this level last time. And I will note there were a couple of siblings that took some starts to win, but were okay. Sibling called Cozy for short, won in the 3rd career start. Sibling called Wentz, won in the 2nd career start, won 4 of the first 9. So I thought there was some win early here that, again, the horse hasn't quite lived up to. But in this bunch, I don't think it's going to be totally out of the question. And Galatrona for Jim Bond. I think this one getting back to the turf may benefit. There are a couple of turf races that have an edge on this bunch. But overall, the turf races were a mixed bag. If we can get to one of those better efforts with the move back to the grass, could be intriguing in here. I have it 1, 7, 6, and 4.
Now, I have a question about your hometown race. First off, are you surprised that it's the 3rd race?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. And secondly, is the New York Race Association more protective of the late pick 5 than the early pick 5?
Well, it seems that way, certainly. And I mean, I think that also takes it out of the pick 6. The one that got me though was yesterday. The feature in the 7th rate. That was one I couldn't figure out.
Yeah,
that was strange.
But this
one is with 5 horses. That's kind of become the.
But I would think this is not helpful for horizontal players. All 5 are live. This is not easy. This is like so in race number 3, the suspicious Quality Road track record. And the reason I've always been suspicious was there was a New York bred race. I think they went the 2nd quarter like 21 and change, which was like unbelievable for it. So there's been great doubt, not only about Quality Road, it was actually a New York bred race that started to make me think, I'm not so sure about this. But the Amsterdam 5 in here, but I don't think it's the type of race that you can feel confident singling unless do you agree?
I do.
Okay.
Because I think that Jefferson Street is going to take the action as the morning line indicates, because again, buyer figures.
We have them all.
We
have them all covered.
But I want to see another one from Jefferson Street. I mean, that was a bounce up of a pretty significant bounce up, even from the best, certainly from the prior start, but even from the best buyer. So I believe the horse is
I'm
talented.
suspicious of 6.5 furlongs at Saratoga.
And I'm not going to. Oh, okay. Then, and so I'm suspicious as well. Will this horse be able to put two together like that? But we are back at the 6.5 again. So I took a little shot. Valentine Candy in the top spot, and I went back to the Bachelor. This horse ran well down at Oaklawn, then came up in the Woody Stevens. I think is better than we saw in the Woody Stevens. So I'm going to look for Valentine Candy to get back to that Bachelor effort at Oaklawn 2 back. I'll put that one over Jefferson Street, and then Donegal Momentum in the third spot, the Tom Morley runner. Nice, really nice looking debut. The follow-up was okay. I think it's a nice spot to maybe take a little shot in stakes company. So 5, 4, and 2.
We have them all covered, folks. And I think that's an excellent, I think it's an excellent opinion that we put forth. We've covered them all because I think that is representative of this horse race. I'm 3, 4, 1. So my top pick isn't in Seth's trifecta. Now, what intrigues me about this is, like, if you were playing the pick 3, you would try and single, right? You don't want to take the all button. You want to have an opinion.
I think it always depends on what you have on the other side.
Other side
later.
Because the pick 3, I think, is affordable and doesn't get as crazy. But, I mean, folks, I know I said it in the Belmont when they ran it up here. It was the first time I came across a Triple Crown race. I thought, not one horse winning it would I go, Well, that's clearly the case here. Any of these 5. But I'm Pure Force making a third career start, which is one of my favorite spots in a horse's career. Third seasonal or third career start. I'm hoping, because I need it, 2 things. One is that this is the best performance of the career to date. That might not be enough to get in the winner's circle, but that I get better than 4.5 to 1. Jefferson Street, to me, will regress on the Beyer speed figures, but still will be heck to pay. And then World Record adding blinkers from the rail, 3, 4, 1 in the Amsterdam.
Yeah, you make a great point. The horse can go back 10 points.
Doesn't matter.
Still be.
Doesn't matter.
So.
My horse can, this is it. My horse can improve 5 points and not get a whiff. So I better get a price. So I know the dark horse play of the day cannot be in the Amsterdam as much as your hometown you'd like to.
No, I had to go back to a preview, one of the early dark horse plays of the day at the meet, opening day, in fact. I'm going to race 6 today. I will say, I have Miss Welch on top.
But
I have Selectively Sweet in the second spot. But I wasn't going to let this one get by at 50. And I think we'll get odds. I used Selectively Sweet on opening day as my dark horse play of the day. Why? Vacoma on top. There's a sibling called Saratoga Gyro that won the career debut. A couple other siblings won early in their career. So Vacoma, again, red hot as a sire of first out winners. And there's pretty good punch on the bottom side as well. I thought the career debut, we were 42 to 1 with our dark horse play of the day. And this horse was right up there early. I was feeling pretty good and then faded late. But it was one of those that I think you can kind of build on. I think you have the experience under the belt. And again, with that win early breeding, I just could not sit on the sidelines and let this one potentially get by. So I'm back with our opening day dark horse play of the day in the 6th race. Number 2, Selectively Sweet. Thanks again to our friends at the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga on Broadway in downtown Saratoga for their sponsorship of the Dark Horse Play of the Day.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the start of the middle pick 4.
Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here. at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
Welcome back again on a gorgeous Saratoga morning. Friday card ahead. We've done 3. We'll kick into the 4th race now here at Saratoga. Optional claimers with the C condition, they will go that 1.5 turn mile.
And if you could see my highlighters, when I was going over the Friday card, which was 2 days ago, the rain and everything was a thought in my mind. So I highlighted the wet track, and that's why I stopped handicapping the weather, ladies and gentlemen. So 1, 4, 7, my selections in here, and a colt from the rail and the 1 mile races, the Chad Brown runner coming out of the Fleur de Lis, which is, the last, really 25 years has come up the ladder on the filly and mare distaff. And we're down inside with Irad for second. Is Sunset Louise going out for the 3rd start of the year. Going to have to improve dramatically at a big price. And then Chi-Town Lady, who I know is the DePaula play of the day, 147. But I want to say one thing about the mile races, right? They have that short temporary rail type thing they put up. And I'm like, well, why do you need that? They're all 1 mile races.
Well, why? What's the difference?
Well, when they just take it away, put the starting gate next to it, don't they usually have it there because there's a gap, right?
Yeah, the stretch. You don't want them turning.
Yeah, so I'm like, they could put the rail right out, a full rail, because they're only running 1 race.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose.
Right.
I've never really noticed it before, but they do have that little temporary up there.
Because at Aqueduct, they run the 1 mile races. They put the gap in where the main track is. I'm like, well, there's nothing temporary about this. There's only 1 distance and 1 race.
Yeah. Like I said, I never thought about it. But I will say, if you're out here walking one day and you're looking at your program and you're thinking, like if you come today and the 4th race, you can walk over and kind of, you're right there. If you want to watch the start of a race.
I think that's a great point.
Kind of fun.
The 1 mile races.
4th race today for me, 7, 1, 5, and 6. I will put Chi-Town Lady on top.
Right.
Has finished behind Vava in the past couple, and Vava is just sensational for our friends at West Point Company, Cherie DeVoe. So comes in off of those stakes tries at Churchill. I think maybe classes up nicely with this group. But I do have a Colt in the 2nd spot, and I think this is very, very, very competitive runner in here. It's Chad, it's Irad Ortiz, also stepping out of Stakes Company, where the horse has been very competitive. And then Stonewall Star. Last race, not so much, and that was up here at Saratoga during the Belmont Stakes meet against state breds. But this is a New York bred that I can be competitive against Open Company. And as I say, not so much last time, but has some early speed and could be a little bit interesting on that aspect in here. But 4th race at Saratoga, 7, 1, 5, and 6.
On to the 5th, State Breds, Maiden Claimers, mile 16th on the main turf course.
8, 7, 4, and 6. I'm going to put Judge Rules on top. Reed Rodriguez, runner that ran a nice 2nd last time. Moved over to the turf in the last couple and showed nice improvement from the start 1 to the start 2 on the turf. I think might be primed for a good effort this afternoon. Plus Flavian Pratt on board, who's having a very good meet. Royal Brown goes out for Rick Dutrow. I kind of like this scenario here. Not so much the surface switch, but I have said over the years an angle that I appreciate, either the first starts of the career, or if the horse takes a break and comes back a couple of sprints, and then in the 3rd start stretches out. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily play out with the surface switch, but I still think the angle's intriguing. You get Irad Ortiz on board and Fluorescent Light in the 3rd spot. Robbie Davis, runner. who I think is going to fit with this group at a decent little price. He gets Dylan, who is riding very well on board. So father-son trainer jockey team. And again, Robbie will be over across the street at the harness track tomorrow night for a charity. Awesome. He'll be in the sulky, a charity match race. Daughter Katie will be on a under saddle trotter doing her own match race. Should be fun tomorrow night at the harness track. But again, I think Robbie has a live one in here. 8, 7, 4, and 6.
I agree with you for us in Bay. 284 for me. Dana Point coming up from Mid-Atlantic off of a big effort. We draw well here. We're 8-1 on the morning line. Luis Saez, cold. I think one of the remarkable things that he's, but we have faith. Judge rules, I agree. I think the race almost goes through Judge rules. And then for third, I like Fluorescent Bay. As you mentioned, third start since the wintertime, but 284 for me.
6th race this afternoon, State Bred Maiden Specials. These are 2-year-old fillies, 3/4 of a mile.
I'm 492, and if my memory serves me right, I didn't look it up, but just one of those anecdotal things. Going back a long time ago, John Kimmel with firsters, wasn't he a thing?
Yeah. He
was like one of the – it was a rarity in our sport, and John Kimmel was a guy that did it. And I saw the price on the morning line, the Young Stallion Improbable, and I just was like, if I'm going to guess, I want to guess on a $26 horse. So I'm 492 in here. Someone, Offspring of Improbable, going out for John Kimmel. Miss Welch, Jeremiah, who is the, white hot at this meeting. Kudos to the good guys, the Offspring of McLean's Music. And then Selective Suite, who has started the Offspring of Vacoma, but 492 as we take a flyer.
I have it 9, 2, 3, and 6. And again, Selectively Sweet. I debated putting that one on top, and I may kick myself, but we've made it the dark horse play. So, but I couldn't get past Miss Welch by McLean's Music, a very good first outsider. So far this year, McLean's Music, 26 first-time starters, 4 wins, couple seconds, 3 thirds, and better numbers than prior years. But underneath, the lone sibling to this one is Downtown Mischief. Won the first 3 starts of the career, won 4 of the first 5, including 2 stakes races. So I thought there was a lot of nice win early top and bottom on this one. Attracted a nice price at the sale where the horse worked 10.1. I think Miss Welch is live in debut. But again, Selectively Sweet. Also, as I mentioned earlier when I talked about the dark horse, there's some breeding here with Vacoma on top, the Dan Producer debut winning sibling, and some other win early types. And with the experience under the belt, could be very intriguing at a price. And then accelerating in the third spot, Matoli, interesting sire. Another one that attracted a big price at a 2-year-old sale, worked 10 flat. Steve Asmussen trainee, could be interesting in debut as well. 9, 2, 3, and 6.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the late pick 4.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, up to race number 7, kicking off the final pick 4. 11 furlongs on the inner entry-level allowance runners.
I saw the tally
Easy
light.
for me to say.
I saw the tally light, but I wasn't sure if they were going to come out of the break.
I think I probably had looking at the wrong spot.
No, you were. It was a one shot on me, and I wondered because it's an odd race, and so you were up. But anyway, I have a 2, 6, 5, and 8 vesting on top. The Chad Brown runner, Chad and Klarovich, as you would expect from this team, a win early performer. Improved nicely start 1 to start 2. I think is set for a good effort here. I mean, start 2 was the maiden breaker, and it was at 1 mile and 3/8. So we know the marathonish distance is right in the wheelhouse and lightly raced, maybe some upside potential. Second spot, B, like Clint. I thought the last couple of starts were okay. I mean, really, the last handful of starts were okay. And I think okay in a way that matches up with this group. And again, proven at this kind of a distance as well. And better bet. I went back and I looked. You look at the trouble line clipped heels last time. You look at that race and it's just clearly an aberration compared to the prior. And I looked and it's legit. The horse did have a bad stumble early, and I just looked like not persevered with after that. So I'm going to draw a line through the latest and the races just before. Kind of tout this one as playable. 2, 6, 5, and 8.
You can throw off the 11. I don't know what I was thinking. It's not. It wasn't a Thursday selection, so I didn't have to cover myself with an MTL. 5, 2, 7 for me. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's like brilliant on the guys. Better bet. I think you go 2 races back, and that's the race. This is the better bet last race is one of the most legitimate red flare pen lines through a race that you will come across. So I think better bet the 3-turn race. I'm right there. Vesting. These are the 2 runners. These are the races that intrigue me for horizontal players, because to me, I think you have an 80% chance getting through the race with the 2 and the 5, and then I have the 7 making the first start in a year. So 5, 2, 7 in races that I love, which are the 3-turn races we have at Saratoga, whereas when we're at Belmont, which we usually are, you have 2-turn marathon races.
And your 7 trained by Belmont. Did you see the tweet? Dave Grenigan yesterday, and he said he was on the backstretch and saw this. See the tweet of Belmont ponying a horse, and on the horse was Julie Crone. Throwback.
I did see that, yeah.
Throwback, kind of a workout situation there. 8th race at Saratoga this afternoon. Optional claimer. Non-winners of 2 other than 5.5 on the grass.
I think when the Bill Mott winning on his birthday, when we first expanded the meet to 5 weeks, I think that's when the meet got into Bill's birthday. I think Julie had one of those winners one time when he had like 5, 2, 10 for me. David Jacobson sends out the 5 for the second start since May. Good effort, a win, going 5.5 down at Monmouth. For a second, Run Curtis Run. Another horse, sharp connections here. Mike Maker sends out this runner. Scintillating fractions if you want to take the July 6th racing. And on the outside of the main body, I think unquestionably the greatest horse racing movie ever made, Let It Ride.
Oh,
I know you haven't seen Sandlot, but you don't even say it.
Haven't seen it.
I've
seen parts of it. That one doesn't seem to intrigue me that much.
Oh, no.
Maybe I'll.
It's not even close. It's the greatest race.
I would give Seabiscuit just on production value. I don't think. Think there's not.
Well, no, I like. It's a more serious movie, but like when you go to the track, Let It Ride is about people that go to the track. It's our movie.
All right, maybe
it has the greatest scenes and lines.
I'll check the stream there.
We have a
Seabiscuit was lush with the production value, so I give it that. Yes. Secretariat was an interesting movie, but they did not have much production value.
That was junk.
And then I will throw out Boots Malone with William Holden. That's pretty good. These days, it's maybe a little corny, but that's.
Well, let's say something. Let It Ride is about 35 years of age. It still stands up. There's not one thing dated in the movie. That is, I wish we have a tradition of before the meet. It's supposed to be the night before. We have ribs, we cook outside, and we watch Let It Ride.
Very good. I have this 8th race, 6, 2, 9, and 11. 11 is the first one on the AE list. If that one doesn't make it in, I'll pull in the 4 Fauci. But I'm going to put Surveillance on top. This one's interesting for Mike Maker. I mean, Mike Maker, you have to trust making a clever move. This one does have some turf starts. You know, one of them was okay. A couple of them were okay. One was a win. Hasn't been on the turf in a while, though. But I'm going to take, second off the claim. They take a little drop. I think that maybe mitigates the surface switch a little bit. Surveillance, interesting to me. Run Curtis Run in the second spot. That win, that nice second place finish, 2 back, was what is attractive. Last time, beaten favorite, and you see a trouble line there. I looked that up. I didn't think the trouble was that bad. Yeah, there was something there at the start. Did get bumped and got pushed out a few passes, but I didn't think it was, crazy. But the race 2 back is more what I'm focusing on. And running with scissors in the third spot. Nice win 2 back. Tried a little bit tougher last time. Could be in the comfort zone class-wise. In the 8, 6, 2, 9, 11, and potentially the 4 if the 11 doesn't get in.
We'll take our quick break, our final break. That is when we come back, the final Daily Double.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to reiterate how glorious it is this morning. And if you have some free time on a Friday, we've talked about it before where, I'm sure both of us know many people that either have half days on Fridays or they take them off during the summer. And, I'm not saying you got to invest 5-6 hours up here, but come on up if you're ever going to come to the track. Because there's still, it's July. There'll still be some elbow room for you up here. So, it would be hard to complain about very much today. In the 9th, we have the 7 furlong, the optionals in, or the 3X and the capital C's.
12, 7, 2, and 6. I've liked the Creed quite a bit throughout the career, and I didn't use that one, but I wouldn't argue anyone off of that one. The one horse scares me. But I put number 12 on top, Scotland. This is a horse that showed clearly some talent early in the career for Bill Mott. Recently hasn't lived up to it, but maybe moving in the right direction to get back on track, given what we've seen over the last few starts. So I'm going to tilt in that direction slightly. Second spot, I'll go with Castle Chaos. Steps out of some stakes company. Good try in the Carter. 2 back. Last time tried the Met Mile. Didn't fare quite as well, but the numbers are solid, and I think it's going to be a good match with this group. And General Jim, another one that showed some talent early in the career, and then kind of went in the other direction a little bit. Now has a couple of starts so far in 2024. I thought the turf start last time was a good maybe setup for this move today. Went 2 turns down at Monmouth on the turf in a stakes race. Now turf to dirt, cuts back. Maybe that's going to be a little wake-up call for General Jim. 12, 7, 2, and 6.
Just to give you some, I'm 8, 7, 12, but I like to preface it by a couple thoughts. One is, I thought this was a skull buster of a race. I mean, there are times when, you just can't spend enough time. It's too deep. It's too good of a field. I mean, it's 12 deep. There's like 8 of them are strongly live. And my rule of thumb is to take a price horse in this because I think it's just too competitive, and 3 Technique, who is an outsider of the group of 8 maybe. But boy, I'll tell you, Scotland I have in my mix, Seth. I mean, our numbers are very Castle Chaos. So 3 Technique, I'm throwing out the Grade 1 Churchill Downs effort starting off the year, and I'm hoping we have some strong foundation improvement out of the old Arlington Hinchin race, and we just catch lightning in a bottle here because just too difficult for me. Castle Chaos for Robbie Falcone, who's having a terrific. I apologize, Robbie Falcone. We had him on the thing,
and I said it at the beginning of the interview, and I think as I ended the interview, I said Falcone. He didn't say anything, but as I was thinking later on, I thought, did I get that wrong?
And then Scotland, so 8, 7, 12. Good luck getting through the 9th, which I think is an outstanding horse race.
And I also appreciate, and I'll bring it up again because last year I was walking from here over to the front side after TV, and Rob Falcone stopped and picked me up, and I gave him a salute that I said, very neighborly. I'll bring it up here. If you have an empty seat in your car, give not just me, give people to drive by me with an empty seat. It's like, oh man, it drives you bonkers. But I got a ride yesterday, neighborly, and I've gotten a couple, but I've had some people drive by.
Like 500 yards?
It's a pretty good walk.
It's very much appreciated, though. I mean, it's
particularly with that humidity.
Right. It's not the death march to Bataan, but it's really nice to,
the humidity. I was getting over there needing a shower. It was, the 10th and final today.
Today you might like the walk.
No, today
you might be like.
Yeah. Like I say, it's not a bad walk, and it's exercise. But on the humid days,
well, you gave up hoop. You got to get it somewhere.
I can't get that squeezed in during the meet. 10th and final goes off just a little after 6:15, a mile on the grass for State Bird Maidens.
Well, I like this race very much. 4-6-5 for me, but Film Academy, one of my favorite horses of the day. I like the most recent effort as a tightener, as practice going forward. I lose Flavia Proud. I get Jose Ortiz, though. I draw a good post position. Oscar Performance. We don't talk about turf stallions very much. Heck, I think Manila ended up in Turkey. But I like Film Academy very much. Wind Dancer making the 3rd start. They had blinkers today. Both the first 2 were quality efforts. And then Mission Hill in between the starting gate of my top 2 picks. But 4-6-5 in a terrific get-out race.
Yeah, Mark's having such a good meet. Not just here. He's having a great summer, Mark Cassie. So I looked at Film Academy. But I went 5, 6, 9, and 7. Put the Bill Mott runner on top. 3rd start of the season. Off a couple of good efforts, I think is prime today. Wind Dancer, Dave Donk trainee that has put in a couple of good efforts to build on so far. And then Hard Par going out for our friends at Adelphi. Hope to get Matt on sooner rather than later because they had the nice win as well with Pandagate. They'll come back, in the New York Derby. They'll come back for the Albany. So we'll get Matt on at some point. But 3rd start of the season off a couple of improving efforts in the 10th and final, 5, 6, 9, and 7.
All right, that wraps up the Handicappers Report on a terrific. The card is outstanding. I think that's 3 terrific betting cards in a row. The weather is better than perfect. He stays, I go. See you back here tomorrow morning.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.